Allergy season always sneaks up on you. One minute you're listening to your favorite podcast. The next it's nonstop sneezing and a runny nose. Don't worry, Kleenex Ultra Soft Tissues have your back. And your face. They're allergist approved and silky soft to help prevent skin irritation. So you can stay comfortable all season long. Don't let allergies interrupt your flow. Be ready with Kleenex Ultra Soft Tissues. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
So much baseball. Direct TV has the most MLB games in one place. Direct TV, baseball stats and baseball scores and streaming baseball on your couch and at the park and wherever you want on Direct TV.
Visit DirecTV.com today. It's Direct TV like you've never seen it. Claim based on total games on national and regional sports networks. RSNs included with choice or higher. Availability varies by zip code and package. Mobile app US only, up to 3 concurrent streams. MLB trademarks used with permission.
This is Riley W. here from A Really Good Cry. Your body needs protein, especially pre and post workout. And if you're trying to eat more plant forward and less meat, you might want to consider Garden of Life Raw Organic Protein Powder. It fits right into your routine with a delicious vanilla flavor. This non-GMO USDA organic certified protein powder contains 22 grams of plant-based protein from a diverse blend of sprouts, legumes, and ancient grains to help build and repair muscle. This is the good stuff. Garden of Life, formulas for feeling alive, available on Amazon.
Hello to everybody who needs to vent a combination of financial rage and financial fears. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everybody. If you're not a fan of an intro, this one's not too long. It's like 3 minutes, maybe 4. Skip somewhere around there. You'll be right at the beginning of the phone call. Thanks so much. Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. Welcome to another episode of Beautiful Anonymous. I feel really lucky to bring you this one. I think this one's going to bring a lot of catharsis to a lot of people. This is one that is real grassroots, a voice from a person who's out there who I think is going to say something that strikes a chord with so many more of us than we realize right now. And a few things to address in this one. One, it has been pointed out to me that when young people call and express their frustrations, that I often wind up, it's me at my angriest on the show, and you're going to hear there's a couple times where I borderline blow my top. I think it's warranted. I'll also say this, want to put it out here. It happens during the call. I apologize for it when it happens, and I'll say up top is now I made an assumption about the caller's race at one point, and I was incorrect, and that is not a good look, not a great feeling. My bad. Again, sincerely, my apologies to the caller on that. To anybody listening, you're going to hear me put my foot in my mouth. It's all in the middle of one of the said blowing the tops moments, getting emotional moments. So I think it ties into that. Not my finest hour. That being said, this week's caller, it's really pretty simple. This caller's really frustrated. A lot of it relates to finances, and the job market, and what we're all looking at. And I have a feeling that this caller's not the only one. I have a feeling I'm not the only one. I have a feeling there's a lot of us out there right now throwing our hands up going, how hard do I have to work to not even have a fancy life, but to just have a predictable, stable life? How hard am I expected to work to make that happen? What do I have to do? And I think when you hear this caller and the path the caller walked just to get out into the place to get a job and how that's been going since, I think a lot of the frustrations of a lot of Americans make sense, and a lot of young people make sense. And this one to me is like alarm bells. I've said over the years, there's been a few episodes of Beautiful Anonymous along the way where if I was working on the staff of a politician, I would forward it to them. This is absolutely one of them. That if you're in politics and you got some candidate who doesn't get it, send them this one. And you will hear not just the frustration, but the desperation that a lot of people are facing as they look at what we're asking of them, just in terms of being people who want to work hard, put a roof over the head, put food on the table. I think a lot of people are going to get as angry as I did when they hear this one. Okay. Sign up at beautifulanonymous.com. Don't forget, that's where we put all the extra stuff. If you want to support us, allow this to keep being a job for me and Andrea, that's the place to go do it. In the meantime, enjoy the call.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hi.
Is this Chris?
This is Chris, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you I can hear you well.
Okay. You sound a little quiet to me, but maybe
let me
there's
see
something wrong with my phone.
Let me see if I can fix it. How's that? A little better? Sometimes I could turn a little...
Still quiet.
I could turn a little
wait,
dial.
This is getting better.
I could turn a little dial and
the
make it
dial's
get louder.
working.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, that's working.
Turning up the gain. Okay, is that good?
Wow. Yes, that's a lot better.
Okay. So sorry about that. And thank you for speaking up. Thank you for speaking up and not just putting up with it. You've made the experience better for everybody in the process. Thank you for that.
Okay. Oh, I hope that wasn't too controversial, but if there's a dial, that's great.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to guess you're from New Jersey. Are you from New Jersey?
Oh my God, that's so funny. I'm from New York, but I have lived in New Jersey, and my mom's from New Jersey. And I know you're really quick with those. Do I? Really? Oh my gosh. I feel like people only say that if they see my face, but you're just getting that from my voice?
Yeah, there was a word. Well, first of all, you were forward in a way. You were like, turn up the dial. What's going on? I can barely hear you. So right away, I was like, okay, you're very forward in a Northeastern way. And there was one word, I think it maybe was hardly. You said like hardly in a way that I'm like, oh, no one else would even catch it except another Northeasterner. But you got a Jersey, New York vibe to you.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I was just bragging to someone recently that I feel like I don't have much of an accent.
You
oh
even
my gosh.
right there.
And I give my mom such
I was just bragging recently. I feel like I don't have much of an accent. Right there. I heard it.
Oh, you heard it? Oh my gosh. I give my mom such a hard time because she's from New Jersey and she goes, horrible.
Horrible, terrible. That. So she's from my part of New Jersey. She's from North Jersey, huh?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot of debate too. Is there north, south, central? And I was in central area, but there was a lot of debate on is there central Jersey.
No,
so.
the central Jersey people have definitively won. Everyone is now recognizing that there is in fact.
Won?
Not only is there central Jersey, people are now also, I think, pretty successfully arguing that the shore is its own thing.
Wow. Okay.
North, central, south, and the shore. Yeah.
On Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's well, I'm a New Yorker, and that's one too where there's a lot of debate on can you call yourself a New Yorker after a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
I was born here, so I really am a New Yorker.
Yeah.
But New York has shifted a lot, and I know you've lived in New York for many years, but post-COVID New York, it's looking and feeling really different to me, Chris.
It does. It does seem very different. It seems like prices have gone sky high. I read about people finding deals on apartments where it's like, oh, I found a room where I'm only paying $2,100 a month. And I'm going, man, I never.
That's an only.
And I'm like, I never paid that much to live in New York. And I always, I was always either with roommates or splitting my rent with Hallie. But I'm like, I don't think I ever paid that much. And I only moved out 6 years ago. 7 years ago. I'm like, it's wild how expensive the city has gotten in such a short period of time.
Oh my God.
But I'm sure you're feeling that more than I am.
Oh my God, I am. And I was, kind of moving out on my own in 2021 to go to school. And the apartment hunting process was so insane. And you would show up to the appointments with the realtors. There's lines down the block like it's a concert. And I had an appointment. They're like, oh, we've already given it away. And people just kind of sign and give money over. And then another one, they asked us to just outbid each other like it was a house and to overbid above the rental prices. And they're asking for more and more money for a tiny, mind you, like no space. Don't have a closet, Oh my
You're far
gosh,
from the train.
It was Hunger Games style.
I remember those days. I remember when we were looking for our final apartment in Greenpoint. Like, you show up with the checkbook ready to sign the security deposit the first month, the last month, right there on the spot. Don't mess around.
Mm-hmm.
I remember realizing that renting in New York had gotten really, really weird because we bought our first place in Jackson Heights. We bought a 1-bedroom co-op. And when I realized that our mortgage was less than we had been paying in rent, I realized, I was like, something's really wrong here. Something's really wrong.
Something's wrong.
If I can save up, because, and there's a lot of really classist aspects to that, right? Because I was someone in a position where I could save and put money away to the degree that I had good credit and I could afford to pocket enough away for the down payment to own, it actually meant that that down payment's a beast. It's no joke. But then the fact that after that, it actually means that my monthly costs for ownership are less than the majority of my neighbors are paying in rent. There's something very classist about that. Like, it's actually, if you can afford to be let into the club of ownership, you are now a landowner. Life is actually in some ways easier financially. And similarly, I'm looking at what people are now paying for 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartments to rent in New York City.
Have you looked at the prices?
Well, I'm not trying to stress anybody out, my New Yorkers. I got much love for New York and my time spent there and all my friends there. I'm looking at prices where some people are paying as much in rent for apartments as I'm paying on a mortgage on a 3-bedroom house in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is nuts. Yeah, and I went to the university here. I went to NYU, and people had to move every single year because their rent went up by over $1,000 every single year. And so you just had to play this game of finding rent that you could try to scrape and afford because they just kept jacking it up and up and up.
And that's while you're also adding up your student loans from NYU.
Yeah, and they give no financial aid. They're really...
No, they don't have to. They got people banging down the door. So you're rather young. You're in your early 20s, it sounds like.
Well, I've had we only have an hour. I've had sort of a whole experience with school where I didn't do college in just 4 years. I had to take some time off. I had medical stuff come up. I had a lot of mental health stuff come up. I had to take time off. And I transferred schools. I had things happen. I actually went to, how many colleges did I end up going to? I went to 4 colleges. I took some classes at community college. I really kind of kept trying until I could get into, I had this very limited specific idea of I had to go to a big name, prestigious university. I had a lot of academic pressure from my parents growing up, and they're really academic, smart people. And so my senior year kind of got really disrupted, and I wasn't able to apply to colleges in the right time that I needed to. And so I didn't get into, like maybe a fancier school and, or what I thought was academically prestigious. So I went to a liberal arts college I'd never visited in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Lovely school, but it was big culture shock of someone who grew up in big cities. I say I'm a New Yorker, and I am. I was born here, and I grew up in New York most of my life, but I also lived in Tokyo as a kid. I've in big cities, and this was dirt roads and Mennonites, and I saw Confederate flags in person, and this was right when Trump first got elected, and it was a really tense time. I just had never been that up close. I
got to call this out too. The Confederate flags in Pennsylvania thing is wild. I remember I was out.
It's wild.
I played a club. Where is Soul Joel's? There's a club called Soul Joel's, and it was one of they had an outdoor space that they reopened. It was one of the first places to reopen in the pandemic where you could go do an outdoor event. And there were pickup trucks with Confederate flags driving all over this town. And I remember saying, it's Pennsylvania. Like, Gettysburg was fought here. This was a solidly Union area, famously so. This state was, what's going on where the Confederate flags are all over Pennsylvania? This is pretty far from the Confederacy. I don't even think we should be flying the Confederate flag in former Confederate areas, let alone a solidly Northern Union stronghold.
Yeah. It's not about the South. Clearly, it's about the racism here. It's so north.
Yes. Nothing but. Also, 1 o'clock. I'm going to clock it when I hear it. I'm so sorry to tell you that most listeners probably couldn't hear it. Well, I heard your New Jersey, New York hybrid accent really came out with the way you said the word prestigious. You said it like I do. Prestigious.
What?
I'm telling you, when you listen back.
Wait, how do other people say it?
They don't hit that G as hard as we do. They would say like prestigious. And you and I you even right there, you did it again, prestigious. You kind of hit the T and the,
oh my.
You hit the T a little harder and the G a little harder, prestigious.
Wow. Wow, but you're good. This is.
I don't think anybody else would hear that.
But wow.
I'm so sorry to do this to you. So you're putting so much pressure on yourself academically. You want a school with prestige. Yeah. Your parents are academics. You wind up in the middle of Pennsylvania. You're taking some years off. Medical, life getting in the way.
Sure. And I end up in New Jersey. I had to leave the school in Pennsylvania. Other stuff went down in the midst of already Trump and opioid crisis and a lot already going on in that part of the country. And I had to leave. And then I actually was at college in New Jersey for a bit. I was at Rider University.
Okay.
And
that's where my mom went.
And oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's where good old Sally went, to Rider University.
Aw, Sally. I wonder if I'll have to apologize to her. I've been trying to keep my New Yorker sailor mouth on check for a bit, but I do usually curse a lot.
You and me both.
But, yeah. But it was, I even had a break from college. I kind of thought, maybe this isn't for me. I just felt like I was fighting so hard to fit into the mold of college, and it just didn't feel natural. And I thought, okay, maybe I can just work without a college degree. And I tried doing it for a bit, but, I couldn't really get paid a lot. And I thought having a degree would really help. And I'm a stubborn person, and I wanted to feel like I crossed that threshold and had that achievement. And I still was, kind of aware too of my parents having these impressive degrees. And I wanted to do that for myself. So I really was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going to go back to college. And, 3 months in, the pandemic hit.
Jeez.
And that was very disruptive. And they were like, everybody has to pack up all their stuff from the dorms. We all had to leave, and we had to do it in shifts. That was the whole thing of moving out of the dorms because we couldn't all really gather, and then having my stuff be separated from my mom and her husband's stuff, and just not knowing what COVID was and going through that period and feeling like, man, this was the time I felt ready to lock back in and do university. And I had a sticker on my laptop for a while. I'm a proud member of Zoom University. I did that for a while, and that was a crazy time. School sort of never ended. They just kind of, you had homework due on Saturdays, and I was just studying at all hours. I moved back to New York because I really missed living in the city, and I had really decided I want to be in New York. So I only applied to schools in New York, and I was like, NYU is the dream. That's the dream school. I don't know if I'll get in, but I just kind of kept studying and tried to, I was on Dean's List, academic awards, and somehow ended up at NYU. And so I transferred there and was like, this is what's gonna make it. If I get this fancy college degree, if I say I've graduated from NYU, I'm going to be set for life. And that had been the plan and the goal. But I graduated 2 years ago, and the job market has been really, really hard. I graduated with Trump back in office, and AI everywhere, and companies really tightening their budgets. And yeah, I've had 5 jobs within the last 2 years.
So how many schools did you wind up going to in total, or spread out over how many years?
It took me 9 years to get my degree. And I took time off. I don't even remember how many times I took breaks. Let's see. I'm trying to count here. I'm trying not to say schools aloud to like not identify myself too much, but NYU is massive. Like the whole country went there. So I'm not worried about that one. Yeah. So NYU is my fourth college.
Yeah. It's something I really want to raise a red flag on your behalf. And first of all, let you know, excuse me, that you're not alone in it. And so many of us are living with fears about our financial realities. I know that I'm a 45-year-old guy. I've had a 26-year-long career in the arts. I've been speaking publicly about this lately, and so many people have heard the message when I'm not totally involved in comedy, not in the way I used to be, certainly. But I've been saying I've got effectively 4 full-time jobs right now. And that's pretty shocking to people who can kind of look at my career objectively and go, wait, at a certain point, I thought it's supposed to mean like your momentum keeps rolling. It's like, no, the momentum's stopping for all of us. And in your particular case, I want to say, so, 9 years, so you're not even 30 yet, right? You're still in your 20s. And
yeah, I'm in my final year of my 20s.
I got to point it out to all of our listeners. There's a lot of young artists who wind up coming to me. Like if you're a young alt comedian, like you do weirdo comedy, you do experimental artsy comedy, at some point you reach out to me, it feels like. Like a lot of people have reached out to me. Mm-hmm. And I love linking up with young artists. There's a lot of joy in it. And I love seeing what we can work on together, how to include people in my stuff, if there's advice I can give, if there's any blah, blah, blah. And when I tell you that every young artist I talk to has the same sort of exasperation in their voice as you do right now, that is not an exaggeration. Yeah. When I tell you that I talk to young artists who just assume that because they are an artist, they're never going to own a house. When I talk to young artists who have told me that they've already decided to never have kids, and it's because of financial fears, this is not an exaggeration. Yeah. It's really real. It's really sad. It's not melodramatic talk from young people. It's young people looking at their bank accounts and going, I always wanted kids, but I will never, ever be able to live a life I'm happy about if I have kids. It's happening everywhere. And listening to you, we all know you are someone who you come from a family that clearly took academics seriously. You took it seriously. You did.
Yeah, really tried.
Yeah, and you did everything in the way that we're all told is the dream, right? Hey, you go to school, you get a degree, you get knocked down, you get back up again. You keep fighting for it. You wind up with a degree from NYU, which I think there's probably a lot of listeners going, NYU, yeah, that's no joke. Just like you were going, NYU, that's no joke. And then you get to the end of this process that for you took almost a decade of your life, which is a third of your life. And you're going, and now I'm just losing jobs. The degree doesn't count for shit. So you burned time, you burned money. I don't know if you took out student loans and you're in debt. Young people are not melodramatic, everybody. To my listeners who are in our middle age and above, these young people are not being melodramatic. They're not being hyperbolic. They're not buying into some poverty cosplay romance. They are running fucking scared. Young generations feel like we got to live a dream that they don't get to live. They are feeling like all of the tech is coming directly for them, and they are fucking scared. They're not being dramatic. They're being scared. We have to hear it. We have to respect it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. It's I've been trying to be measured or chipper about it at certain moments, but I'm really just terrified, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm tired. I feel like I've been hustling and pushing and trying to do everything that was expected of me. And, I was promised security on the other end of it. And this was so much time and money and, and I can't get that time back. I can't get...
Yeah.
There's a lot that happened mentally too. It was really, and I am an artist, but I just sort of shoved that aside to do something more stable and to have an academic degree and to try to do corporate paths. I thought that would be more stable, but I mean, geez, like there's no guarantee. I just feel like I can't. I mean, I know I'm still young, but that's still a lot of time, a lot of energy. And now I feel I have no savings. New York is extremely expensive. AI is only ramping up more. Like, what the fuck do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And let's be clear too, for anybody out there who hears you say New York is expensive, let's keep in mind, there's some people who hear that and go, well, you don't have to live in New York. You grew up there. This is your home. You do have a right to say New York is expensive. Yeah, like all of it. Can I ask what your two companion questions? When you what you can say what your degree was in, or maybe the broad strokes of what type of work you thought you would be getting. I also am interested in knowing, when you say you're an artist, you set it aside. What kind of art was that?
Well, I mean, I feel like I have the soul of an artist, but I didn't really pursue it professionally. So I grew up doing theater and dance. And I studied sociology. So it's a cross section of a lot of things. There was a lot of studying of politics and history and economics and public policy, and a lot of questioning of institutions and systems, and seeing how capitalism is the root of a lot of destruction and disruption and is not actually efficient and really harms people. But I also, at the end, minored in the business of media and entertainment, and I thought I could work on the business side of media, and I wanted to do that. I acted as a kid, and I was a kid in New York, so I did do like off-Broadway and stuff, but my parents always wanted me to prioritize school, and so I did. I had wanted to, audition for LaGuardia, the famed school for listeners, but kind of got talked out of that by my parents. So I was like, okay, I'll just really focus on school and academics, and I do love learning, and I love all of that, but it seemed like all of that was going to be riskier, but man, who knew there was going to be pandemics and Trump and AI. I tried to do all the right things and take the less risky path, but so it's I kind of tangentially worked with media, but more on consumer products, which it's not my passion at all. But turns out we manufacture everything overseas. So the one sort of like permanent stable job I had been given that wasn't just a temp job, I was immediately laid off because Trump put his tariffs in, and they were like, yeah, we can't afford to keep people. So I was laid off along with many
other
people.
Last ones in are the first ones out in situations like that.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
You've brought up AI a few times. I think there's so much chatter about it in entertainment. I'm elected to the Writers Guild right now. There's so much. Unions got to set the bar with AI protections, but I also have a friend who for many years was a graphic designer who designed book covers, who said, like, graphic design, there is a profession that you can look at where a lot of young people start out as freelancers, trying to pick up gigs, maybe still doing the cool artsy stuff while also looking for their first paid gigs, more corporate gigs, steady gigs, whatever it is, and then maybe eventually you get picked up on a more staff basis, permanent basis, recurring basis. That's an area where a friend of mine just told me all the stuff that used to be for kids just out of school is AI. It's gone.
It's all AI. It's all gone.
This idea that you're going to like work with local bands or local businesses to do their promotional drawings, those are all AI. They're not going to give you $70 to draw them a picture anymore. It's ChatGPT's doing that. It's an entire class of jobs, and we've got to realize
copywriting, all of that too. Everything.
There you go. Copywriting, transcriptions, and look, technology has always taken away and transformed jobs, and there's a part of me that really hopes and maybe even thinks that AI will be proven a tool that in the current moment was a fad. and that it'll be a tool that is used that wipes out some jobs, but that some of those jobs might come back as we realize that there were fad-like aspects to this AI thing. But what's really scary in the meantime is that I have a feeling we're not paying enough attention to the fact that if people of your exact position, the people just out of college, the people who are in their 20s, looking to get in there, roll up their sleeves and scrap it out, going, what are my first few jobs going to be? If we just, it doesn't take that many years of these people being told, hey, so sorry, between tariffs and an unstable economy and AI, we've got nothing for you. We lose the institutional knowledge. We lose you go learn from people the people doing it who are totally green, learn from the people who've been doing it for 5 years. The people doing it for 5 years, learn from the people who've been doing it for 15. And you don't need too many gaps in that before you actually become less skilled as a profession across the board.
Yeah.
We're not protecting the institutional knowledge that we've built by including young people on the ground floor. It's short-sighted. It's dumb. And I'm not trying to wind up on any government list, but it will end. It will only end if people are told, hey, we can't figure out any way for you to pay rent. We can't figure out enough for you. We can't figure out how you can afford both your rent and your bills and your food.
Sometimes it's groceries or rent.
Yeah, and have a little bit left over for your Netflix subscription, or to go out and get a couple drinks at a bar and be in a trivia league and be a social human being connected with others. We can't figure out how to give you enough. Yeah. That ends in a fucking revolution. It has since the beginning of time. You put enough of the population in a place where they can't afford their shit. Eventually they start to go, fuck this, and they start throwing rocks through windows. And I'm not encouraging it. I'm not trying to wind up on an FBI list. I'm sure I'm on enough of those already, honestly. I did episodes of television with Diddy on them. I'm sure I'm on all the lists. I'm sure I'm on the list just from that.
Seen that.
But how do they expect this to end? How do they expect it to end? Because let's face facts, like, there's another aspect of this too, which I'm sure you're well aware of, is again, and again, I want to call it out, being totally on your side. You're sitting here literally crying out of the fear of your economic situation. You're the child of two Manhattan academics. And you sound, I'm not making any assumptions, but we're on the phone together. I'm guessing you're white. Like this is traditionally like a white girl who grows up in Manhattan, the child of academics, is traditionally a privileged person, not someone who in their mid to late 20s is crying in fear of their financial future. And I'm not saying that to put you on the spot or make you defend your lifestyle. I'm saying it as, holy shit, this is happening to kids who grew up in Manhattan in households like yours. So what's happening in depressed parts of the Rust Belt? What's happening in areas where entire industries left to go overseas and everybody's job related to the 3 factories from that one place? Like, it's happening to kids from Manhattan. Well, now we are fucked. We are fucking up. And we have... I don't understand why the government can't fix it. I don't understand why Elon Musk can take $80 million to build a fucking tunnel in Las Vegas that was useless. I don't understand why the Ellison family is allowed to just become billionaires upon billionaires upon billionaires while sucking up all of our media under their umbrella. I don't understand
what the fuck?
How we think this shit ends. It ends with people pissed and scared and hungry and not sure if they'll have a place to keep the rain off their head. That is a recipe for real bad, dark, violent shit. It always has been. And our politicians need to do more. I'm from New Jersey. I like Cory Booker a lot. You gave a 25-hour speech. Pass a fucking bill, though. Don't put on a big show. Pass a bill, Cory. I love you, but pass a bill. Pass some goddamn bills.
Pass some bills.
Anyway, I went on a massive rant there, but when young people are scared and sad, I get very pissed off. I think listeners have noticed that.
Yeah,
what do you do to keep? What do you do? What do you do to keep your head on straight when you're feeling this stress? Because I feel you're stressed through the phone. What do you do? What do you do to try to remain a human?
Yeah, and I'm trying not to sound stressed, but I am really,
I felt it
really
pour
stressed,
out,
actually.
though. I felt it pour out to the point where I think I just yelled for 6 minutes. What do you do? What do you do to keep your head on straight? What do you do to feel connected to the humans around you that might keep you feeling like there's hope?
I mean, I try to see friends, but it's, a time out with friends in New York is really expensive. We've been just kind of going on walks lately because we're all broke and all struggling to afford our lives. I watch a lot of TV and movies. I read. But Chris, I did want to say something.
Yeah.
I'm not white.
You're not.
No,
Fuck me
I'm
making
not.
assumptions. Fuck me making assumptions. I look like an asshole right now, and I deserve that. Oof. Foot meet mouth. Mouth meet foot. Everybody meet advertisements. We'll be right back. IQ Bar. The best. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Gel mushroom coffees are the delicious low-sugar brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The ultimate sampler pack, great way to get going. You're going to try all the IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. The IQ Bar plant protein bars are incredible. Plenty of plant protein, tons of fiber, no added sugar. IQ Mix is a zero sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes, improves your mood, boosts clarity. IQ Joe is a mushroom coffee designed for mental clarity, packed with 200 milligrams of natural caffeine, comes in 4 flavors. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. I love IQ Bar's stuff. I have IQ Bars for breakfast pretty much every day. I always travel with a few in my bag. They are incredible. My wife is truly obsessed with the IQ Joe coffee sticks. Just yesterday, she was making one, and I heard her, this is not an exaggeration, quietly mumble the words, "Thank God for coffee sticks." I heard her say that yesterday morning. She loves them to the moon and back, and you're not going to find a bigger fan of the IQ Mix hydration drink than this guy right here. Summer's coming. You're going to be sweating. You got to stay ahead of being hydrated. Guess what? Get the leg up. Use the IQ Mix. Not only will you stay healthy and hydrated, flavors are great. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Text BEAUTIFUL to 64000. That's BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Delete Me has supported the show a very long time. If you've been meaning to get on board, now's the time to do it. It's a great service, everyone. I'm telling you, if you start poking around, it is so easy to find people's personal info online right now. Addresses, phone numbers, family members' names. These are all floating out there on the internet. This can have real consequences. Makes you vulnerable. There's these data brokers, very nefarious actors. They find the data. They use it to, first of all, some of them sell it off, make a profit, and then there's other people using it to target, we've all seen it lately, political rivals, civil servants, outspoken citizens, people posting things online, people getting blackmailed, people getting hacked. It's really wild, dark stuff. I have said it so many times on the show. I need you to really hear me on this one. Delete Me sets the bar so high, and I've seen it personally. There was a stretch of life where I felt very uncomfortable with some things that were being said online. I was so indescribably nervous, worried about it. Realized that with all the stuff floating around out there, that it was a reason to stay up at night. It was affecting my sleep. I was panicking a little bit. Delete Me went through, found hundreds and hundreds of sites, removed my info. They keep going back and doing so. You get reports a few times a year where they show you where people tried to add it back in and where they pulled it right back down. And I just have to say, very honestly, very deeply, Delete Me, thank you. During a stretch of life where I was really nervous and really worried about privacy issues, you stepped up to the plate, showed me how it's done. And that is why from now until the cows come home, I will tell people that Delete Me does it right, and they would be well served to get on board. No joke. Take control of your data, keep your private life private, sign up for Delete Me, now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Use the promo code beautiful at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful, code beautiful. Thanks to all the advertisers who help this show exist. Now let's get back to the phone call.
Chris, I did want to say something.
Yeah.
I'm not white.
You're not.
No,
Fuck me
I'm
making
not.
assumptions. Fuck me making assumptions. I look like an asshole right now, and I deserve that.
It made me kind of smile and chuckle because, yeah, if people just hear my voice on the phone, they do assume I'm white. I've had a lot of random odd jobs. I had a job where I was like managing tenants, and I had this older male tenant who was very inappropriate with me, and he kept trying to like ask me out, even though he knew I was in my 20s. But he also thought I was white just from the sound of my voice, and he said racist things to me because he thought I was a fellow white. Yeah. So that was a whole interesting situation. But sort of with that, yeah, my parents are people who they were able to have professional careers because they're really intelligent and they got into good schools. And this has been sort of the model for me and the path that we could sort of earn our way into different classes and opportunities by using our intellect, by, I don't know, having cultural capital and knowing how to say certain things and act a certain way. And yeah, having a degree used to really mean something, and having multiple degrees meant something. And maybe it still does in some circles, but I also know that, you know, a lot of people who were laid off, a huge percentage was Black women, and it's tough. So I've used sort of all of the resources I can, and I have had a lot of privilege and great experience. I, grew up in this great city, but it doesn't prevent sort of no discrimination or no, for me being able to have any experience, I don't think.
So your background is Black then?
I'm mixed. I am also Asian.
Mixed. So
but, yeah.
Here's another question.
But to the world, since I have brown skin,
Well, I do want to apologize for making assumptions. I'm glad you put me in my place on that one.
Had to a little.
Well, I do have a question, which is, and again, I'm a very proud Democrat. I vote Democrat, and I'm not trying to be like a rabble rouser, but there's another thought to be had of like, man, women of color, every national election, women of color are asked to step up and fill this void. And then it does seem like all the benefits promised don't actually reach communities of color, let alone women of color. It's over and over again, and you can read up on it. It's not being woke. It's not being leftist to say, we ask Stacey Abrams to rally communities in Georgia to vote, and you get 2 Democratic senators from Georgia. And what does it actually lead to? You ask. Oh, yeah.
It's over decades, too. I've seen the statistics and the polls. I've looked at the research for sociology. It's a long established pattern.
Ooh, it has to be of mixed race in your 20s and a woman in 2026 facing this job market. Your sociology degree must feel like such a point of pride, and also almost like almost like an Edgar Allan Poe level. I wish I didn't know how to analyze all the research on how the world works, because the world is rigged. All the research shows that the world is rigged against you specifically. And that's got to be such a double-edged sword. I got a degree that allows me to understand all the systemic problems that I personally am facing right now. Welcome to sociology.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know very well the intersectionality and how that all plays. But I thought if I was armed with enough academic knowledge, I could, I don't know, find a way to not circumvent it, because I know it's well-established systems and institutions, but just have a bit of edge. But it really does. I mean, it takes a collective, sort of what you were saying with everything else. You know, we have to sort of change things from the root and have people on a really mass level and scale say that the way we're doing things doesn't sustain. It just doesn't work. So it's, you know, you can say things in classrooms and boardrooms as one person, but we need major shifts from the ground up, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm very well aware of it. I actually saw that they were trying to ban my major a couple of years ago in Florida. They were trying to get rid of sociology. And
is that real?
Insane. Yeah,
Florida
I don't
wanted
think
to make it illegal to study. Florida was like, we'd rather you all not look into this.
They were like, yeah, don't learn history, don't learn in questioning systems. It didn't actually pan out into something they were able to pass, but they really tried to. And that made me scared, but also really fucking proud that I know this. I was like, ooh, this is, you know, knowledge is power, as Frederick Douglass says. And so I have that knowledge, and an educated public is harder to control. So to tell you something.
I feel for you. I feel for everything you're facing. I know that I feel a massive amount of fear related to finances and health insurance at all time. I haven't even told, should I say this? Should I even say that? I'm going to say it.
I mean, I feel like you have to now.
Well, I'm still kind of processing it, and I haven't even sat down and talked with Hallie about it, but I'll make sure I do before this episode's released. Okay. No, well, before this episode's released. This one's not coming out for a couple weeks. But I went in, I'm going to get a little personal. I won't be too graphic. I'll just tell you the reality. I'm a very historically stressed out man with a not great diet, and I'm in my 40s. I got hemorrhoids. Yeah. It's happened a couple times in my life. If anybody out there has dealt with hemorrhoids, sometimes they bleed. It's horrible. You bleed from your butt, it's a bad thing. It's a really bad thing. So I went and had a procedure to fix it. And I have health insurance. I've actually had multiple health insurances because I'm so scared at all times of my son not having health insurance. I just got the bill for this yesterday. $6,500. And they tell me this after the fact. And I need to be clear. Yeah, and I need to be clear. Like, I'm a functioning adult who's been very, very conscientious about saving money, never living above my means. Any time I've made money, I have saved it. But I am not in a position to pay $6,500 to stop the butt bleeding. I'm not being ridiculous when I say if they sat me down and said, this will cost you over $6,000, I would have said, I will deal with butt blood for the rest of my life rather than give you $6,500.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to list the amount of things that I need that $6,500 for that should not be this, and that I was not given a heads up. And nothing like this has ever happened with a bill. And my assumption is that if I have decent health insurance, which I have, that I shouldn't be getting bills for $6,500, and that I certainly shouldn't be getting them without a financial heads up before we do the procedure. So
yeah, I can't believe they didn't warn you. Jesus.
These are the things we're all dealing with.
Yeah. I mean,
you're like,
the health insurance.
I got a degree from NYU and I can't get a fucking job. What the hell's going on? I'm going,
I can't ever get health insurance, Chris. Like, they keep getting rid of me. They use me as a cheap hire, and they'll just get rid of me before they have to pay me health insurance. This literally just happened to me. I just lost another temp job 5 days before my health insurance was finally going to kick in. I was working for months without it.
Is that a game everybody plays? They dangle the health insurance carrot in front of you and then
No,
fire you right before?
Well, it's just because it's cheaper and they don't have to like pay it out. And I keep having to just hustle and get different things because I really need health insurance. But I've been in a really fucked situation. Like, I haven't gone to the dentist in years. I have like multiple doctors I need to go to. I'm asking my like dad's wife to write me prescriptions that like it's not her specialty, but I can't like get a prescription. It's a really, the health
we
insurance
have to
thing
hear
is
this.
so crazy.
We have to
so
hear
bad.
people
So
like
bad.
you. We have to hear this. We have to, all the
I'm so
people
stressed
like
about
me
it all
living.
the time.
Yeah, and the people like me who are past a certain point in life, who grew up at a certain age where we are a little bit locked in, we got to realize that to people younger than us, it feels like the ladder is being pulled up after us. To hear you say that people are firing you from jobs 5 days before health insurance, to hear you say that you've got to find doctors who are within your family to write your prescriptions because the cost of healthcare, to hear you say that you can't go to the fucking dentist because of financial
I
fears.
don't know why dentist stuff is so expensive. It's just so expensive.
We live in fucking America. We should be able to go to the goddamn dentist without crying from the anxiety. Fix this shit or stop rigging elections so we can vote in the people who will fix it. Enough is enough.
Yeah. I really, really agree.
How do you think this ends? Let's pause right there. I think a lot of people are probably going to start thinking about how they think this ends. And it ranges somewhere from we get back to sanity to dystopian infrastructural collapse. Anyway, we've got ads on that happy note, on that very positive note. We've got ads thanks to all of our advertisers. We'll be right back. I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money. After years of overpaying for wireless, years, I finally got fed up with the crazy high wireless bills, with the bogus fees, with the free perks that actually cost you more in the long run. Switched to Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is great. Mint Mobile is a service that is, as far as I can tell, exactly as good, if not at times better than the other services, and they are cutting out the nonsense when it comes to the costs. It's a no-brainer. Stop overpaying for wireless just because that's how it's always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring your own phone and number, activate with eSIM in minutes, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. I'm telling you, Mint Mobile is out here looking at the playing field going, man, all these other companies, they're just bloating everything. They're just putting fat that needs to be trimmed. What if we just really made a product that charged people for the service that they're using, allowed us to be a company that stays in business and thrives and doesn't exploit our people beyond that? That is forward thinking. That is modern. That is really well done. Kudos to Mint Mobile for being out there, being an option that makes sense, doing things the right way, taking care of people. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/beautiful. That's mintmobile.com/beautiful. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 month, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Losing weight is one thing. Keeping it off, I've always had frustrations with that. I'll go through stretches where I get really on top of it. I really watch my eating. I go to and hit the gym, and then I'm feeling good. And then guess what? Life gets in the way, and I got a kid, and he doesn't finish half his meal, so I'm eating a meal and a half. And I live in North Jersey. Pizza's good. Keeping that weight off, frustrating. But guess what? Weight Loss by Hers now offers access to the FDA-approved Wegovy pill and the FDA-approved Wegovy pen. Wegovy is designed to help you lose weight and keep it off. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. Helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep the weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss, so there's no needles needed, and everything's 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment's right for you, and if prescribed, your medication's delivered right to your door. There's no insurance necessary, and it does not stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. And even better than that, there's a range of affordable GLP-1 options. So Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/beautiful to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/beautiful. forhers.com/beautiful. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Me among them. I'm one of those happy customers. They have all the plants your yard or home needs, including fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and houseplants, all grown with care and guaranteed to arrive healthy. It's like your local nursery, but anywhere you live, with more plants than you'll find anywhere else. Whatever you're looking for, Fast Growing Trees helps you find options that actually work for your climate, space, and lifestyle. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Just click, order, grow, and get healthy, thriving plants delivered to your door. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee promises that your plants arrive happy and healthy, no green thumb required, just quality plants you can count on. Plus, get ongoing support from trained plant experts who can help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them every step of the way. I will tell you, I had the Fast Growing Trees experience. It is awesome. Went through, listed where I lived in the world. They broke down the zone. They told me all the things that were natural to my area, all the native species. My wife and I were able to go through. She picked a tree she was really excited about. A couple days later, guess what? We come home to a tall, skinny box, and I go, this cannot be. Yes, indeed, it could be. It was a tree in a box leaning against my front door. And my wife and I planted that together. We went out, picked a spot in the backyard, planted a tree. It's happy, it's healthy, it's thriving, it's growing. And now every time I look at it, I get to remember that's the tree my wife and I planted. It's the one we picked out together. It's a family experience. And I think you all know. We've been to nurseries where you wind up standing in the middle of the place looking around, overwhelmed, and you're just praying that a worker walks by so you can grab them and frantically tell them what you're looking for and where you live and all this stuff. And it can be really overwhelming. Fast Growing Trees makes it so simple. Dare I say it was fun. I enjoyed the Fast Growing Trees experience in a big way. And look, spring's here. It's the best time to plant. Fast Growing Trees will help you. They'll help you get your home and your yard ready, give you all those essentials that you need. You don't need a ton of space. If you want to grow lemons, avocados, olives, fig trees indoors, you can do that. There's house plants. Everything's grown with care. Everything guaranteed quality, backed by the Alive and Thrive guarantee. There's over 1,600 varieties of trees and plants, including fruit trees, evergreen trees, shrubs, flowering trees, shade trees, houseplants, and more. More plants than you will find anywhere else, including rare and unique varieties. Every zone and climate is accounted for. Plus, don't forget about the ongoing support. There's plant experts on call to help you plan your next landscape project and find the right plants. Support's available 7 days a week via email, chat, or phone. Personalized video consultations. And right now, there's great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. That's an additional 20% off better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BEAUTIFUL. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use Beautiful to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Thanks again to everybody who advertises on the show. Now let's finish the phone call. How do you think this ends?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, how does this end? Because I don't see how this is sustainable. And I every time I open the news or LinkedIn, I'm seeing another company that did thousands of layoffs. And I mean, it's really desperate, and I can feel how desperate it is. And, when I see a job posting, it's already been hundreds of applicants, thousands of applicants. Oh, it's so bad and crazy now that, people are using dating platforms now as a way to try to get jobs. I'm seeing that.
Really?
Also, modern dating is crazy. And yeah, people are now using it to try to get jobs. And
how does that work?
People are like trying to filter by like companies and stuff and trying to get referrals, because there's a lot of job postings that are up there that are just not real. Like, I spend hours of my life applying to jobs, and you don't know. Sometimes they just post it on there, but it's not actually a real posting. I keep doing these temp jobs because I at least know it's a real job, but I have to go through a recruiter and they take a huge percentage, and so I'm not getting the full salary amount. But there's also the internal way of going in, where if somebody gives a referral, and those are getting a lot higher now. I saw that, some companies are even offering like $25,000 for a referral. And so people are trying to find a way in through the back door, because the like classic front door approach of applying to jobs, I mean, everyone's scrambling for the few jobs, and some of them aren't even real. They're just like posting it because they legally have to. So people are trying to find other ways in. So me and everybody else in their 20s and 30s, we just spend hours on dating apps and job sites, and sometimes you're kind of doing both at once.
And then they're like, why are young people having less sex? It's like, because they're all fucking depressed all day.
We're all depressed and stressed. Like,
everyone's depressed and stressed
out. I was actually going to go to a dating
out.
event tonight, Chris, but like, I was like, oh, I can't. I need to figure out a job, and I need to.
This is it. This right here is why, if anybody's wondering why young people aren't having sex, you just heard it. It's because they're so stressed out. They're like, I can't go to the dating event. Maybe I'll apply for jobs while all the other young people are at the dating events. Maybe that's how I'll slip in onto people's radars.
Capitalism struck in again, and it's really expensive, and they charge women way more because they're like trying to get more men in. So they'll be like, oh, it's $0. They're charging women up to like $100 at some of these events to go.
You got to pay $100. I thought, what? Isn't it usually women get in free to stuff like this?
But some of them are up there. No, usually, right? It's supposed to be like ladies drink for free, but they're trying to balance the scales and get more men to show up. And women are always worried about, trying to end up with a partner or have kids, usually, although we're at a record low for birth rates. But they're like, oh, men, you can come in, and women, you got to pay, even though you're the ones who are kind of being laid off more. And if you want to have a baby or do IVF, all of that is going to be extra thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything's so bleak right now. Like, I'm trying to sound normal, but I've been crashing out for a while over this. And I don't know how it ends, because I'm also seeing that no one can afford groceries or gas or rent. And if you lay off all these people, who's going to put money back into the economy? It's not really economists who are making these decisions. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like I'm losing it. It's crazy.
No, I hear you. And I really, truly, with my whole heart, hope that people listening to this and finding this really understand that you are not saying this in a vacuum. The younger generations hitting the job market today are desperately trying to tell the rest of us, hey, something seems really fucked up about this, guys. And it's I don't think it ends well. Do you when it's tough to say, and I don't want to upset you, but when you think back to who you were before that 9-year fight to get that NYU degree, are there any regrets? Would you have done things differently had you known what you were headed towards? Is there advice you have for the 17, 18-year-olds now who are trying to figure out, their approach to the next handful of years?
Oh my God. Yeah, I think go after what you're passionate about. I mean, there's a level of being a bit practical and a bit realistic, but there's nothing guaranteed. And you also spend so much time at work. It's a lot of your time and effort, and it really is worth it to feel like what you do brings you some joy, brings you some meaning, some purpose. And doing something just because your parents do or because society says this seems impressive or looks correct, it's going to make you feel personally miserable and empty. And it also just doesn't guarantee any kind of success economically or provide any stability long term. Life is really short and really chaotic. So I think you should prioritize what you feel like your purpose is in the world and do that, and also create community and, figure out other ways to support yourself and help your neighbors and your friends. And because everything feels really hard right now, and it feels like we can't rely on the social systems that we used to. So this is also where there's been really cool stuff in New York, and there's a lot of mutual aid, and I add to my community fridge, and co-ops are kind of coming back again. And how do we really kind of take a community first approach on things? Because, having everything run just profit driven and private equity is buying up all the apartments, it's not sustainable, and it's not how we were supposed to live. We are social community people, and think about your passions and think about how you can be part of a collective in a community.
On a similar note, I might say to you, hearing you talk about how you grew up in the arts, performing off Broadway, I'll say dance. Hallie's a dancer, so I know dancers, high level physicality. The best dancers in the world are also some of the best athletes in the world. They live a very similar lifestyle.
Thank you, I agree. Yeah.
So, that 9 years not focusing on dance, obviously dance is always something you can do, but I understand feeling a missed opportunity. Someone who did theater and acting, though, there's so many actors who dive in much later in their life than you are. So, also heed your own advice of your passions are still there, and all your frustrations that are here. If you want to get back on stage, I think that's still very viable. And I feel like you consciously traded one for the other, thinking it was the smart, practical thing. You can also backtrack on that, and the other thing I might say about the arts that we all know is I think it does also dovetail back into the other thing you said, which is there is inherently community, collectivism, building a safety net for each other that comes along with it. So heed your own advice on following your passion one. It's not too late. You had a circuitous 9-year path, but you're clearly a smart as hell person, passionate as hell person. You are someone who, when I hear you say sociology, and in the course of our conversation together, I already go, yeah, this makes sense, because you both are able to articulate things in ways that are just casually succinct and brilliant and nailing it. And also you clearly have great empathy and compassion for not just where you're at, but the other people around you see struggling through the same things. Those are also all the sorts of skills that make someone a good actor. Your intelligence, your compassion, your empathy, your life experience. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it's right. It's so much easier to just give advice out than to take it. But I really appreciate that. It's just, oh my God, my confidence has just been so shaken in myself by 5 jobs in the last 2 years, and 5 days before health insurance kicking in, and feeling like I put so much time into one path, and and yeah, there's a lot of AI disruptions everywhere, entertainment included. And I was looking up different classes and things I could launch myself into right now while I'm still looking at other jobs, but they're really expensive right now. Like the acting classes are so expensive.
Yeah.
So
well,
I don't know.
I have a feeling we're going to start to see, I do think artists first of all, there's a lot of them that are the most sociopathic narcissists on earth. That's undeniable.
Yeah.
Certainly. But I also think that there is real crossover between activism and the arts. And I have a feeling we're going to start to see, like you said, community-based mutual aid. I wouldn't be shocked if we start to see a bit of an artistic renaissance in places like New York, because you're going to start to see some artists going, maybe I should teach some classes for free. Maybe kids need to learn music for free right now. Maybe kids who want to get on stage need to be given free access to that right now because, not trying to talk smack, not trying to create controversy. The improv nerds, I always have to remember that I'm like an OG improv nerd guy and say, when I say things, they have impact in that community. But like, I come from a theater that I'm very proud to come from, but their classes right now cost $500 each. And
oh yeah, I literally looked at that theater and I saw the 500 plus and I went, never mind.
I love the UCB. Like it's my historic home, but part of why I haven't returned to teach there is, if I'm being honest, I'm like, I don't know, if you put me in a classroom with 15 to 20 people who all have $500 in disposable income in 2026, I have a feeling it's not going to push the buttons of excitement for me, because I have a feeling those people are all going to come from the floor of socioeconomic classes they're going to come from is just going to be something that is going to feel very omnipresent to me. And I have a feeling I won't be able to summon the same enthusiasm I used to getting 16 random people in a room. Like, I have a feeling it's all going to be people who come from certain walks of life. And there's nothing inherently wrong with having $500 of disposable income in your 20s right now. But I just have a feeling I won't be at my best or most enthusiastic or passionate as a teacher. So I've seen it as an artist myself, but I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I would actually go so far as to say the systems in place that are putting this squeeze on people like you better pray that the artists start setting up. Because those outlets, those collective decisions will provide a pressure release that's highly necessary. And I think those types of pressure release are the things that might stop this from turning really, really dark in a way that's grim, that's violent, that's hard to watch unfold. You can only make people feel like, because again, you're saying how you've had 5 jobs in 2 years, and I don't even get the sense that these are jobs that you were like, yeah, that was one that was going to be my lifelong career until I retire at the age of 65.
No,
it sounds like
I hated them all.
You're sitting here going, I can't even keep a job I fucking hate. What is this? I have a degree from NYU, you motherfuckers.
And I worked overtime. I spent extra hours. I'm like so dedicated and doing extra. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. I'm just a cheap hire, and they just cycle through. And oh my God.
You can't even, you can have, you got a degree from a fucking fancy college everybody's heard of, and you can't even keep a job you fucking hate that you probably and again, you're not sitting in here rolling your eyes. You're saying, I'm fucking working my ass off. I'm working extra hours. And you probably in your heart, the day you get hired, are like, I got to make this fucking work because I need something. But this is a little bit below what I was aiming for. This is slightly below what I'm capable of. But fuck it, let's go. And you get fired from 5 of those jobs in 2 years. At some point, people are going to start going insane.
Yeah.
The system will make us all feel insane.
I feel crazy right now. Oh my God.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy, I promise.
You're not but like, crazy. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I clearly have to start doing something else and think outside the box, but where do I start? And no one's given me like enough cushion and savings to like take a big creative risk or something. I don't know.
I know. I hear you. Well, I'm sorry that you're dealing with it. I hope this has not added to the stress. I hope this has provided a feeling of understanding and camaraderie and pressure release, not pressure increase.
Yeah, no, it was validating. And I
You are
do
not
want
alone
people
in
to
it.
know how people feel right now. And I think, people look at people my age and just kind of think that we're all self-obsessed and on our phones and not really thinking critically about the world, or that we have it so easy with certain things. But I mean, we're really, and all of my friends are brilliant and all of my friends care about the world, and everyone's really struggling to afford basic things in their life. It really breaks me to watch it, and it's really overwhelming and confusing.
I feel like consistently one of our flaws, certainly as an American society, I think overall, one of our flaws as far as how human beings are built is that you hit a certain age where you start rolling your eyes at young people. And I pray I never get there. If I live until I'm 95 years old, I hope that I remain respectful of youth movements, of youth, of the culture of the young, of the impulses of the young. Again, I feel like I've been on some sort of leftist talking points that don't totally. I'm not the most fervent DSA guy.
Oh yeah, I go to DSA meetings, but yeah, fair enough.
Well, I like the DSA a lot, but I have a personal thing because DSA members once broke into a building I used to live in to confront the city councilman who lived in there at his door, and I thought that was fucked up. I thought that it was before January 6th, but I'm like, you can't be kicking down a guy's personal residence door. You can't be sneaking into his building and pounding on his door. It's scary as shit. So I have to get that chip off my shoulder. I thought that was fucked up. Sure. I think we could go into all sorts of stuff with that, but one thing I will say is this is why even as somebody who's getting older, I would love if my congressperson was younger than me, and I'm 45 years old. I would love I would love to feel like we are handing the keys to the car to young people a lot more than we are now, because I talk to a lot of people in your position. I have a friend who I think is one of the most brilliant comedians I've met in years. He's part of a sketch group that I love. And I have found ways to throw him gigs along the way, and he's in this very lovable part of his life where he's kind of bouncing from gig to gig and going from festival to festival and doing pretty well, raising reputation as an artist, but it hasn't led to a steady gig yet. And I understand and remember so vividly how stressful that stretch of life as an artist is. And he casually at one point just dropped to me that he was homeless. And he said it as if it was something I wasn't going to blink at. And I'm much older than him, and all of my sort of surrogate dad instincts kicked in, and I went, wait, hold on, what are you talking about? He said, well, I'm just kind of bouncing on couches right now because I'm between things and I got to go to this country for a festival in a month or so, and I've realized that I actually can crunch the math, and to get an apartment just to not live in it for a couple months when I know I'm leaving anyway, I can't afford that, so I'll just be voluntary homeless. So not homeless in the same way that someone who has no other option is, but voluntarily choosing to be homeless for a length of time that's not just a week or two, that's a month or two, to the point where your older friends in your life get scared and go, you're choosing homelessness as a financial strategy and just hoping that the couch surfing situation works out? Okay. There's charm and romance to it as an artist, and also, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm looking into that. I'm also looking at doing volunteer somewhere that will just give me housing. There's things you can do that you can travel and you just I don't know, help them build and paint their Airbnb, and they'll at least give you a house. Travels on a budget that way. And also just while I figure out rent and I don't know, my next gig, because right now I don't know my next job. It's not guaranteed.
Well, listen, it sucks right now. We've got 30 seconds left. Thanks for letting me go on some rants on this one, but I found myself very angry on your behalf. Super sorry I made assumptions about race. It's not the first time on the show that I've gotten that wrong, and it's never great. Never a great look. Thank you for pointing me in the right direction about that. And most of all, I want to say, you're not crazy. You're not alone in this.
Thank you.
And we, again, have to think about, if this is happening to Manhattanites, it's happening everywhere. If this is happening to everybody, if this is happening to people with NYU degrees, this is certainly happening to people with state school degrees and associate's degrees, let alone no degrees. If this is happening,
Exactly.
it is happening fucking everywhere. And again, I'm not trying to demonize any individuals, but like, we got oligarchs in this country now. The Ellison family has enough money to buy TikTok and buy Warner Brothers, and they say they can't find the money to support Stephen Colbert, and they have to lay off 30,000 people at one time.
Oh yeah.
Those things don't equate. That is not the real. That's not a real financial reality. That's people playing games with other people's livelihoods, and not in a small way. 30,000 people at a time. You got the money to buy Warner Brothers, and then a few months later, you lay off 30,000 people. These are weird games that we're playing, and some of these figureheads at the top of it are bad actors, and we need to all be speaking up about it collectively a lot more than we are. Have to. And I honestly think those fucking people playing those games are making you feel fucking nuts right now, and it breaks my heart. It pisses me off. I hear you. You're not alone. And I thank you for being vulnerable and airing this all out.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you and everyone else at the revolution. Let's start fixing some stuff.
I hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope it doesn't come to that. And I think listeners know I'm not out. I'm never somebody who's trying to be a rabble rouser or create controversy. But like, we are eventually going to see some sort of riot overflow. That's because people can't go to the dentist, everybody. People can't afford to go to the fucking dentist, and their brains are going to start to break, and they're going to take to the streets. We could stop it now. We could stop it now. If we can afford bombs in Iran, if we can afford to bomb Iran, people should be able to afford to go to the fucking dentist.
Thank you.
It's maddening. So we're going to say goodbye to everybody on the free feed who, let's be clear, these are your people, the free people. We're about to go behind the paywall with the people with the disposable income. And if you want to say goodbye to the fellow people on the free side of the paywall, I know these are your folks, so give a nice goodbye to them.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody listening. And if you have, a niece or nephew, grandkid, cousin, someone in your life who's younger, just give them some grace. Tell them you know that it's really hard right now. Offer them a couch if they need it. Give them an introduction so they don't have to go on a dating app and try to get a job. Let's all just take care of each other and be kind, because it's a really, really tough time. And let's also support artists and community members. So shout out to everybody who's supporting this project, and anywhere else you can support art. We really, really need it right now.
Caller, thank you so much. Thanks for being so honest. Thanks for expressing your fears. Thanks for letting me express my anger on your behalf and everyone's behalf. And thanks for voicing what I think so many of us are feeling right now. Thank you, of course, to Andrea Quinn, the High Priestess of Beautiful Anonymous, for all your work producing the show. Thank you to Shell Shag for the music. You are the sound of Beautiful Anonymous for over 10 years running now. Remember, everybody, join the Facebook group to discuss episodes. Go to beautifulanonymous.com if you want to sign up for the stuff that's behind the paywall. We work hard to make it really good for you. We're on Instagram. We're all those places. Everything's great. Everything's great. Hey, tell people we exist. That always helps. Thanks so much, everybody. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, Here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. You really are all someday going to turn into upper-level management and go, oh, wait, did you think we forgot? No. We're turning every company into a profit-sharing workers collective, you motherfuckers. Whatever we can do.
It works. I mean, socialists and people are so scared of it, but literally we wouldn't have hospitals, fire departments, schools without it. So every day,
It's
socialism
true.
helps you. You're welcome, society.
A little socialism never killed anybody. Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.